welcome. It is another great morning here in Ohio, and you're sipping coffee with Spider. That's right, that's me. And we got some news. We got the news. Pardon me, I've got a little bit of a sniffle. No big deal. So I'm gonna try to make sure I don't make a big deal out of it. Okay, in case you don't mind. I do have a lot of sneezes though. I don't know why I'm sneezing like crazy today, but oh well. So let's see what we got in last week's news. News. Capital Weather Gang, which is, not necessarily the most reliable name for a news source, but they say odds that 2023 will be Earth's hottest year have doubled, the NOAA, not the NW, the NOAA reports. That's interesting. They were saying already that this was going to be the hottest year on record so far. Oh, pardon me with the sniffles. And yeah, I don't have any reason to doubt that. Again, the only thing I wonder about is how much we really have anything to do with that, or how much it's just a natural cycle of the planet, because that does happen a lot. The planet has gone through many, many cycles with or without us, and I feel like we need to be examining the trends more than just automatically assuming that it's all up to us. But, that's just me. So if you're interested, you can see what the figures and the facts are about the hottest year on record. Oh, excuse me, man, my nose is crazy. Associated Press, Biden sending aides to Detroit to address auto workers' strike, says, quote, record profits, unquote, should be shared. I get that. But at the same time, he's put all these regulations as far as electric vehicles and all those other things. I can't see electric vehicles turning a profit. And so I can't see there being record profits in that part of the business, and I don't think that should translate necessarily directly into workers' pay. I mean, they should get paid fairly for what they do. I'm not in dispute of that at all. You should get paid fairly for the work that you do. If you do high-class specialized work, you should get high-class specialized pay. It's only fair. But what they're asking for is not... It's just out of the realm of believability. There's no way. And I've covered this topic a bunch over the last several days, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think this is going to be over anytime soon, unfortunately. Let's see. Now, this looks interesting. I'm going to pull up the story to make sure I'm addressing this correctly. Oh, that's about the Trump trial. We talked about that yesterday, about how a judge said that certain people weren't going to get tried along with the others as far as the RICO case goes. So that story is still developing. And I'm wondering how many others are going to get carved out of that, and how much of the RICO case is still going to stand once it's all said and done. And whether or not they're still going to be able to lump Trump in there, because that's how they got him in there, because they called it a RICO case. Remember, with a RICO, you only have to be able to charge one person with a crime, and the rest of their organization and associates all get charged with the same crime in a conspiracy. Whether that sticks, who knows? We'll see. Associated Press says Hunter Biden is indicted on federal firearm purchasing charges after plea deal fails, which we kind of saw coming. But, there's an extra wrinkle to this that's not in this article. Apparently, one of the laws that he is indicted for, there's 3 charges. One of those charges, apparently the law that it's attached to, was just ruled unconstitutional by a mostly conservative federal panel of judges. So whether that'll, and that's in another case. So whether that will affect this case or not, that's an interesting wrinkle. I think they'll jump on that. I think they will jump on that and try to get part of this or all of it thrown out based on that precedent. We'll have to see. I don't know. It's another developing story. I'm not in it for the drama. I mean, I don't. If he goes to prison for something, then that's because he messed up. I'm not be like, get that Biden because they're trying to get Trump. I don't care about all that. It's not my business. But yeah, I'm wondering how that case is going to be affected now. Smithsonian Magazine says, quote, spectacular, unquote, polar ring galaxies may be more common than thought, study suggests. Polar ring galaxy. Let's see about that. Oh man, I hate snorting in your ear, but I don't know. I just got this stuff in my nose. It's a rare type of galaxy surrounded by a halo of hydrogen gas, and they could provide insights into dark matter. As we know, dark matter and dark energy are two of the potential candidates for whether or not the universe is expanding exponentially, and if so, why. There's been a recent theory that suggests that it's not expanding, which is interesting. I don't think it's been fully accepted by the scientific community just yet, but I was interested because it throws a whole different wrench in the works of the cosmological constant and all that other kind of thing. So interesting stuff. I'm not going to get into this too deeply because of the density of the equations, but it's exciting. I like it. Love space stuff. Phys.org with the intriguing headline, supermassive black holes affect the chemical composition of their host galaxies, research shows. And you know what? That doesn't really surprise me too much. Because they'll pull in different elements and things like that. And what they pull in will affect what's left behind. Because different elements and different chemicals, chemical elements, they have different weights and different gravitational pull, and a black hole will pull them in at different rates, I'm sure, until they reach the terminus and its terminal velocity. So the mixture of things that get pulled in versus the mixture of things that get left behind, it's a pretty interesting cocktail, really. And you have to wonder how that would affect planets and how they would affect planets that may be capable of producing life as we know it. That is something to think about. Something to think about. Another one from Associated Press. Angry and frustrated, that's their quote, McCarthy challenges right flank colleagues to try to oust him from his post. Now remember, this is the Speaker of the House, I believe. And he only got that position by a very slim margin because he made certain promises to certain people. And I don't think he's being able to keep those promises. And it's very difficult to keep the various political factions together. And now they're trying to boot him already and get somebody else, which is probably going to be ineffective because they only have the barest majority, kind of how the Democrats had only the barest majority in the House, and they don't have a majority in the Senate. So if they pick somebody that the Senate really dislikes, it's not going to affect anything there, and it's going to make things in the House more difficult. So I don't know. I don't have an opinion on the guy. I didn't vote for any of those people or any of the people on the other side either. Associated Press continuing with the big political hits. Younger voters will be critical in 2024. Biden and Trump are taking different paths to reach them. And I don't think either one of them are really doing a good enough job. I don't know. I don't think either one of them knows the issues that younger folks really are interested in, because right now they're just trying to sway the younger folks on the big issues that they want everybody else in. And I see so many people from the generation just after mine who they're really clueless about how everything works, both in politics and on the world stage. But they're pulled in by these big causes and these big deals and all this other stuff, and so they're very passionate about it, but they don't know much about it. They don't know what they're talking about, but they're so angry and they're so upset about it, and they're going to go out and they're protesting and all this other thing. And the two parties are just capitalizing on that, on the fact that they really don't know what they're talking about, but that they're very passionate about it, and they're leaping on this, and that's problematic. I don't have a better solution to that, because right now we're inundated with so many different places to hear poor political commentary. We have TikTok, and we have Facebook, and we have X, formerly Twitter, and all this other stuff, that none of these places are places where you should really be finding your political news and your political discourse. Not one of them. So I don't know. It's a tough one. It is a tough one. NBC Politics stirring the pot. The special counsel's office obtained 32 direct messages from Trump's Twitter account. And he hasn't been on Twitter for quite a long time, which is interesting. So you have to wonder just how deeply they went into that, and whether any of that really matters. I don't know. I feel like that's an invasion of privacy, even if it is like in a criminal thing. But I don't know. What do I know? Well, I'm only going to do a couple more stories, because I'm snotting all over the place here. Obviously, I'm developing some kind of early fall cold here, so I'm going to try not to be like all snorty in your ear anymore. So I'm only going to have a couple more stories here. I hope you don't mind. I woke up and I wasn't feeling great, and I think I'll probably end up definitely going back to bed. Another one from Associated Press. DeSantis, which is Ron DeSantis, says Trump's chance of being elected if convicted is as close to zero as you can get. And I'm not so sure about that. If he's the nominee, then I don't think it's going to matter if he's convicted. I think enough people will be like, you know what, that's just a target on his back. They're just trying to get rid of Trump and invalidate our votes and things. And I think it's going to backfire. Whether that'll mean he'll win or not, I don't know. But with the choices between him and Biden, I don't think there's a lot of enthusiasm either way. Because I don't think anybody really wants Biden back in there. Nobody really wanted Biden this time. But more people didn't want Trump. And that's what got Biden the victory. And this time around, I think it's going to be the same thing, because Biden really hasn't done much. He's had other people do things, and he's talked a lot, but he hasn't personally done a whole lot. And it's been real lame duck as far as they go. So I don't know. I'm not really interested in either guy at this point, so I don't have a big stake in it. Washington Post. Michigan jury acquits 3 men in plot to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer. And this is another interesting bit of this story, because they've convicted 5 people in the conspiracy to supposedly kidnap the governor of Michigan and blow up bridges and do a bunch of other stuff because they were mad about the virus restrictions. And these 3 got off. And I don't know how many more they're still trying to try. I didn't get that information from the article that I read. But it said that 5 had been convicted for a combined 133 years in prison, which is a huge deal. And these guys got off because they said that, oh yeah, we didn't really participate in the final stages. We were along for part of it, and then, oh yeah, this is looking increasingly violent. We don't want to have anything to do with it. And they stepped out. That's what they said anyway. And their lawyers made a good case for that, apparently. So who knows? Will they continue to breed extremism as it was claimed they were doing, or will they turn over a new leaf? I don't know. One final story. This is a biggie. Federal court rules Obama era DACA, the Dreamer program, is still unlawful. So that program is still going to be put to an end. Now, there's a cutoff point. Like if you were applying for the program by a certain year, you're still kind of grandfathered in. You can still continue with the process if it hasn't finished yet for you. Like if you're on a list and things like that, you put in the paperwork ahead of time. But after a certain point, they're like, no, we're not going to take any more applicants. And it did say they can deny people before that if they so choose, which is kind of a jerk move. I mean, because these are people that, under the assumption that the law was there, made a good faith, as far as we know, made a good faith application. And I think at the very least you should honor that and then get rid of it after that and then go from scratch for whatever you're doing. But what do I know? Right? Anyway, that's all I'm gonna do because I'm snorting and snotting and sneezing all over the place here, and I don't want to get in your guys' ears with that. I'm gonna go back to bed, and I hope you enjoy your day more than it seems like I'm going to enjoy mine. And I'll catch you folks tomorrow.